All protagonists are at risk of becoming the most boring characters of your work. The reason for this has kind of confounded me for a little while, but I finally think I've discovered the answer to why this happens. And even if you don't really care why it happens, knowing about the scourge of boring protagonists can really help you avoid them. When it comes down to making a boring character, there are two major factors. There's a lack of characterization and a lack of motivation. So why are protagonists at such risk? Well, it comes from the fact that protagonists are much more linked to the main plot than any other character. And what I see happen time and time again to both old and new writers and me is that the two kind of become inseparable. But how does this end up making the protagonist boring? If a story is exciting, shouldn't it translate to a character being exciting? Well, unfortunately, no. The fact is kind of the opposite. A character isn't driven by the plot. The plot is driven by characters. If you want a bombastic, epic plot, you need a character that can step up to that plate and carry the weight of said plot. They don't need to succeed at doing that immediately, but the drive to do it needs to be there. They need to match. While making characters that are inactive is possible, that's kind of hard mode. I wouldn't try that, especially if you're new. Focus on making active characters. You're likely to save yourself a huge headache by starting with a character that is active and invested and motivated in the story that you're telling. So make sure that the story you're creating is driven by your protagonist. Chosen one stories can get boring, sure, but at least they put the protagonists at the center. If your character isn't a divinely chosen hero, they need a reason to sit at the center of your plot and helm it and make decisions and make choices that affect it. Of course, that isn't the end all be all of creating a good main character. Just because they're at the center of the plot doesn't mean they're going to be engaging or interesting, but it is a big part of it. Like I said at the top, there are two components that get neglected, and the second one is that main characters often lack characterization. It is not enough for a main character status to inform a character's entire personality. They exist beyond just being the main character of this story. When you're developing a character, they exist beyond. They have a life that has defined their personality. They have dreams and wants that shape the person they will eventually become or fail to become. And unfortunately, main characters can't often freely express this unique personality of theirs. So why is that? Well, it comes down to, again, the marriage that they have to the plot. Similar to with the initial issue of the plot directing what a character does. And sometimes, for that reason, the characterization also falters because it's difficult and it messes with the plans you have for the plot. But a lot of it is kind of a fear that a lot of writers get, again, myself included, that comes in regards to rocking the boat. A fear of shifting things and changing what's already there. Because despite the fact that rocking the boat is necessary for half of what makes a story engaging, it's pretty scary to actually shake things up. Like, you spend days and hours of your life creating this amazingly well thought out, intricate plot, and then you realize you have a lump sitting at the center and you need to change that lump. So yeah, the fear of breaking something pretty is really hard to get over with sometimes. So many main characters kind of remain simply little placeholders at the middle of your story that never get the sufficient characterization that they need. And when you get everything of, like I said, once you have your plot all planned and you realize that you have the boring lump placeholder and not a character, well, it's pretty intimidating to kick that lump aside and introduce the chaotic thing known as a character. A character with personality. They're scary things. Characters are chaotic. And that's sort of why they're so great, but also why they're so frustrating to write. So, like, once your character is chaotic, you kind of know that they're in the right direction, you know? Because, like, characters, when they're great, they're kind of prima donnas, and they have their own likes and dislikes, and they'll disagree with all the beautiful planning that you did, and they'll change the delicate balance to kind of suit their needs. They will take a sledgehammer sometimes to all of your progress, but that in itself is progress, because you can't just continue with the lump at the center of your story. You need a character that is lively. I've had like entire plots crumble under the chaos caused by a lively main character, and the story came out so much better for it, because it is great to have a character at the center who has a personality and dreams and motivations and is willing to break things. But again, that's why it's scary to introduce a character with actual personality, and why main characters can suffer so much, whereas villains get to have so much fun because their job is like break things, and you're like, yes, I get to break things, and you're not afraid to break things as a villain, because you know your main character can eventually clean that all up, right? And with the villain thing, you kind of know your main character sucks so bad if you would literally be writing anyone else. Like, if you'd rather be writing any other side character, it's time to maybe consider even just shifting the side character into the main character's slot. Get rid of the dead weight, get rid of the lump, make something exciting, make something that destroys everything you love. That's main character creation. And I'll probably do an actual video on creating main characters or characters or something in the future. But again, that's for the future, as is another video where I talk about how to rein in characters when they are destroying everything and it's getting a little out of hand. So let's just leave that all as is. In the end, the point is that your main character doesn't have to be boring. They don't have to be dragged around by the plot. And even though it feels a lot safer to leave it like that, taking the risk is usually worth it. Invest your characters in your plot. Create a character that has a fun life and is just alive and excited, and you're excited to write about them. And, you know, again, just have fun. It should be fun. You should enjoy your main character. The two of you should somewhat get along most of the time. All right, so that's all I have for today. I want to do more videos on characters because you guys keep requesting videos on characters, but I don't exactly know what you want from them. I don't know where y'all are at when it comes to characters. So leave me very specific questions. Okay, maybe not questions specifically about your work, but like specific questions about writing characters, and I can do some videos on them and discuss how you make characters, how you do all of that stuff, okay? So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, give me a high five if you so wish, and yeah, goodbye to y'all. Yeah. Bye.